Hello everyone, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to another episode of Inspirations. I'm Yeti Falami. Inspirations where we gain strength and we gather momentum from learning from other people's experiences and challenges of life to make us a better version of what the Lord has created us to be. The episode today promises to be interesting, inspiring and impactful. I encourage you to stay tuned. You're welcome again to Inspirations. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, I encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can continue to bring to you this program in the comfort of your home. Today, I have a very interesting guest. She's an energetic lady, very humble lady, very busy lady, but she has created time to come on this program today to share her life experiences with us. She's a lady that wears so many hats. She's a woman of God, she's a pastor, she's a pastor's wife, she's an entrepreneur, she's a mother. She does so many things with all the God-given abilities and privileges that the Lord has given unto her. I want to encourage everyone to please welcome Pastor Jumoke Ogunyemi.
Yay! Thank you, sis.
Hello, Pastor Jimmy.
Hi,
Thank you
sis.
so much for honoring God in my life. Thank you so much for coming on this program this afternoon. And I know it's going to be an impactful one.
Yes.
So before we move on, I just want you to introduce yourself to our viewers at home so they can know exactly what they should be expecting today.
My name is Pastor Jummy Ogunyemi, and I am the senior co-pastor of God's Grace Ministry in Monroe, New York. And I am also a mom to two beautiful girls, Divine and Lucy. And I'm also the founder and CEO of Glam Naturally Oil. So I really just want to share more about my experience, my marital experience before I got married and even after I got married, and how it's important to stay pure and holy before and after marriage.
So when I actually said she's a lady that wears so many hats, she's a very, very busy lady. But God is using her every day. Thank you so much, Pastor Jimmy. You and your husband, I know the Lord has been using you in this community to do a lot of things. You guys are power coupled together. The Bible talks about the fact that if the foundation would destroy, what can the righteous do? The way we see both of you would definitely believe that you've laid your house, you've laid your home on a very good foundation. And I want to focus on an aspect of your life. I know you're marriage counselors, you're relationship coaches, you and your husband. But I want you to take us to the very beginning of how you met your husband. I want you, they always say experience is the best teacher.
Yes.
And I know some of the things that you've been teaching people are things that you've learned through your life. I just want you to take us to the very beginning of how you met your husband and walk us through the dating, the courting part of it to when you actually got married.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
It's a long story.
I know our viewers at home are very ready and very excited to hear what the Lord has done for you and what the Lord is still doing with you.
Amen. So I'm going to try to make this as short as possible because this is a long story and it started way back from Nigeria. Okay. And I'll tell you now, the first time I ever met my husband, I was like 4 years old. I remember I was like walking in our tiny little flat, came downstairs because his family is quite closer to our neighbors downstairs. Okay. And I remember seeing this little boy on top of a fence.
Oh, Lord.
And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, he's going to fall. What is he doing there? And that was the first ever time I met him. I didn't even know he was going to be my husband.
At that point in
but
time.
he was just, I felt like he was so naughty. What's he doing on top of the fence? Okay. I was very scared. But then fast forward in 2001, I came back from secondary school. I graduated, and my mom, a year before, relocated to England. So I already knew as soon as I was done with my secondary school that I was going to be going to England. But my husband started his ministry as young as 10. So everybody in the whole neighborhood knew my husband. Yes, his mom was on fire. She did, because there was so many prophecies before he was born that he was going to be a great man of God. So because of that, his mom was making sure that she made that part for him to keep, the prophecy going and everything. So
train up a child in the way that he should go.
His mom was so, God bless her, And I remembered every single Friday, I used to see his pictures all over the whole neighborhood, because he always has Isoji, you know what Isoji is? Friday night revivals, and you see his name. I'm like, he's so little, but that's the first, like, okay, I'm like, everybody knew he was a pastor, and we respected him for that. And he was the youngest of his family, so you know, he had all his brothers, so and they're always supporting him. And I used to go to the program, so he would invite me after I came, because I was in boarding house for 6 years, so a lot of time I didn't really get to see a lot of people growing up around me, because I was in school most of the time. So every time I came back, he would invite me and invite everybody else to come for the revivals on Fridays. So I used to visit once in a while, and then my entire family, my brothers, my sister, and my dad, we relocated to England. And I didn't tell him, because there was no reason to tell him. At that point in time. Yeah, because you were just a pastor. We used to just go to your program. Although he would tell you the story a different way, but this is the real story. This is the own version of the story. This is the real version of the story. So yeah, we relocated to England, and he was very upset. Apparently, he called my aunt, told my aunt I needed my email, and that was basically history. My auntie gave him the email. He emailed me back and forth. I kept all the emails, by the way. I have so many emails from him telling me that God told him I was going to be his wife. I was 16, he was 18, and I told him I don't want to be a pastor's wife. That's not my destiny. And I tell him we could be friends.
Little did you know.
I know, right? I'm like, no, I don't want to be a pastor's wife. So I used to tend to want to shy away from that, even though he already told me that God told him that I was going to be his wife. I was born into the faith. I was born into church, and I gave my life to Christ at the age of 10. And I remembered when I was 10, I had a conversation with God, telling him that, God, I want to keep myself pure and holy. I actually want to keep myself to my wedding night. I don't want to sleep with any man. And that was one of the first things I told him, and he really like, what? I don't hear a lot of girls say that. You're 16 and you're in England, and you're still keeping, that word. I'm like, yeah, that's my goal. I don't want to sleep around. I want to keep myself to marriage. I want to serve God. And that really attracted him to me more. Wow, that's my wife. Yes. I'm like, no,
a disciplined lady.
Nah, I'm not marrying a pastor. And fast forward, we tried the long distance relationship. It didn't work. Before I turned 21, I remembered praying to God. God, I want to get married at age 23, and I want to start dating my husband before I turn 21.
Wow.
That's exactly what I told God.
You told God.
And I just believed it. But I was always that youth that I never went clubbing. I was never interested in clubbing. So I was always in church. My parents were pastors, but before they were pastors, I used to go to a redeemed church. And I was so dedicated to the church. I would sweep the church every day. After church, I'll be the one sweeping. I was always in the choir, all kind of prayers, intercessory prayers. You find me there.
Always in service.
Always in service, because I just wanted to serve God. You know, at that age, even though I was surrounded by so many other friends that were doing so many different things and opposite to what I believed in, but I just had that strong faith, and I was very disciplined that this is what I want to do. I want to serve God. And when I turned 21, that was my prayer. So it's so important to have a relationship with God. Doesn't matter what age you are, it really does grant us our heart desires. And I prayed, and I tell you, 2 weeks before, because I had a big 21st birthday. I do things big. I do things big. I had a fashion show. I had everything on my birthday. 2 weeks before my birthday, my husband emailed me, and I've not heard from him.
That was for your 21st birthday.
He always reaches out to me on my birthday. That's one thing. Even though we're not talking anymore, we're still keeping in touch. Every birthdays we email each other, oh, happy birthday, and that's it. And but he went even further. He didn't just say happy birthday. He said, Jimmy, you're about to be 21. Is there anything you want God? I'm going to pray for you. What do you want God to do for you at this age?
And you had already prayed to God about your 21st birthday. What exactly you were looking at?
Exactly.
Wow.
And I said, the only thing I actually prayed for is to start a relationship, because I want to get married at 23. I was that blunt.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'm going to pray for you. And that was it. And it was like, do you remember? So after my birthday came back, do you remember the vision that I had from God when you were 16 and I told you were going to be my wife? He said, I had that vision again. And I just cannot let go. I just had to let you know that I still feel like you're going to be my wife. And I'm like, okay, God, all right, I prayed this. This is sign. and he's an amazing
It's like I'm answering
young
your
man.
prayers.
I'm like, what else? I don't
I'm
need.
answering your prayers.
And it's so funny. Before then, I was actually in a relationship with our choir master. Because if you're in church, you tend to want to date people in church, the choir masters. I was dating the choir master, but something happened because it was a relationship that I really thought was going to lead to marriage. Before then, I was 20, 19, 20. And you know when you're in a relationship with someone and you just can tell something is wrong, but you just can't.
You're not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah, you just, even though we are both Christians.
Yes.
But our destiny was never meant to be for each other's.
But you were blinded with love.
With love and everything. But I just knew something was wrong, I just cannot pinpoint my hand to it. So I called my spiritual mother and she said, Jimmy, I think you should fast and pray about this. So she said 3 days. That's why it's always good for, if you're a child of God, to have a spiritual father or a spiritual
to have a mentor, somebody to look up to.
Someone you can look up to. And I remember she said, Jimmy, go fast and pray. Just 3 days. I did 6 to 6, 3 days. And I fasted and I prayed. I didn't see anything. God speaks to me through my dreams. And so, like most of the time, if I wanted an answer to something and I pray to God, it will reveal things to me in my dream. I've always been like that as a child.
So prayer was one of the very key things that helped you.
That helped me. Because I told myself, I'm not getting any younger. And whoever I date has to be for marriage. Because I don't have time to waste time.
Play around.
I'm not playing around. 23 is around the corner. That's my goal. 23, get married. So I don't have time to play.
So God is still speaking.
Yes.
You just have to be able to listen.
Yes,
and hear
and
him.
listen and hear
listen.
him. I listened, I prayed and fasted. I didn't see anything in my dream.
Wow.
But the second week, I had a dream. Very, very vivid. I don't need an interpreter to interpret my dream. God made it very plain that I wasn't confused. In my dream, I saw the person I was dating, and it was like we were walking, and I saw his apartment. I'm like, isn't that your apartment? And he was really trying to brush it off. No, that's not my apartment. Like, yes, that's your apartment. We're going in. And I saw another woman on his bed. And I woke up. Before I woke up, in my dream, I was upset with another friend of ours that we shared together. And why wouldn't you tell me such information? So after I woke up, I called that friend that I had this dream. He said something you need to tell me, and he told me that he's already in a relationship with someone else.
Wow.
That was when I prayed to God. That God, that's it. I broke up the relationship right away. I'm not wasting time. And that was 2 weeks later was when my husband came back into my life.
Your
and that was how we started dating.
Oh my God,
we prayed
amazing
and fasted
God.
before we went into the relationship. Because we knew this is a distant relationship. We cannot waste time. We have to make sure this is what we wanted. I called his spiritual father. He prayed for me. Then my mom and dad was involved. We prayed about it. And they all had positive results.
Wow.
They all saw positive dreams
that's
this
huge.
is your husband.
That's huge. If I can just summarize what you said,
Yes,
like you had spiritual parents.
Yes.
So the power of mentorship is
It's
something
so
that we cannot take for granted in seasons like this. And you made God your best friend. Prayer, fasting to God all the way. That is very, very huge. And that's a very key factor. The Bible talks about the fact that we should present ourselves as a living sacrifice that is holy and acceptable in the sight of God. That's our acceptable worship. I want to focus on the issue of purity. It seems purity it's a terminology that is beginning to fade away in the society today. Even in the Christendom, we're beginning to move away from the Bible, the biblical principles of purity. It's like we're beginning to water it down in a way that it will suit us as individuals, it will suit us as a group. So like pretty much purity, it's beginning to fade away. But from what you said, it was something that you held on to. It was a promise you had with God that you want to make yourself pure. You want to keep yourself pure till you actually get married to your God proposed husband. How were you able to sustain yourself during this time? Because when you're dating somebody, it's like the butterflies fly all around. It's very hard. Even in the society today, it's very hard. As in the video, I felt like gonna be realistic. It's very hard. But how were you able to sustain yourself during the season of your life to keep yourself holy as a living sacrifice that is acceptable in the presence of God?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say though, my mom was a huge influence on my life.
Okay.
Because I remembered while growing up, she always used to tell me that when I was younger, I used to remember saying, there was a Virgin Mary. So if Jesus came today, I want to make sure I'm a Virgin Mary.
A Virgin Mary?
That was exactly what my mom said. And it's so amazing, like, you know, as a child, you hear this word, and that, I guess my mom was already preparing me and put that, instilled those principles inside of me by saying that. And I'm like, wow, that is so cool. I mean, when I was young, like, I would like to get married as a Virgin Mary. But then when I also, of course, gave my life to Christ and I understood, you know, the relationship we have with God, of course, all that made sense. Okay, now I have to keep myself pure and holy, so that aligns with God's principle. It wasn't easy. Before I actually married my husband, I was in 2 relationships before that. And I remembered every time I got into those relationships, the first thing I tell them is, I'm not sleeping with you. I had a stand and I put my stand down.
Put your stand down.
And you're not
going to put well defined. The relationship
was well defined from the beginning. And if you do anything that would make me defile myself, before you even do it, we're breaking up. I always say that at the beginning. Straight. I think I have a very strong personality as well. I think maybe that helps too, but also the discipline that God has instilled in me and the relationship. Because when you have the fear of God in you, the fear of God is so important. And that's what I pray those prayers for my daughters, that I just want the fear of the Lord to be inside of them. Because if you have the fear, it's the beginning of wisdom. Once you have the fear of God in you, you don't tend to fear men. You're not afraid of what a boyfriend would do to you if you break up with them. I care what God thinks about me in this relationship. I don't care about what you think about me. If you're not aligned with my destiny, then what are you doing?